Babajide Kolade Otitoju and Emeka Madnago. Journalist Hangout starts now. Right, leadership is defined by taking responsibility no matter how hard. Such has been demonstrated by President Bola Tinubu after he directed the immediate settlement of 342 million naira outstanding electricity bill to the Abuja Electricity Distribution Company. Other ministries, departments and agencies have been urged to pay their electricity bills, such as the defense staff, barracks and military formations owing about 12 billion naira, and ministries of the FCT, finance, petroleum, health, information, education, agriculture, and more. BK, when this news first broke about some days ago, and I saw it in the tabloid, it took many by surprise, especially the bloggers. When they took it up, it was like, how could this happen? A whole presidential villa. Some were even saying, it's possible, please disconnect so they can enjoy or experience the heat that Nigerians are experiencing. But what do you make of this coming from the presidential villa and government agencies owing power supply companies to that amount of money?
Well, I tell people that we have to interrogate how we got here. Nigerians are very emotional about nearly everything. Whether it's religion or ethnicity or leadership, we get too emotional. We do not ask the pertinent questions. We do not do a tie back to ask ourselves what went wrong down the line. People are shocked that the Naira is taking a hit and all that. But in this same country, there was a time when our currency was stronger than the dollar. In this same country, I took a flight for the first time. That was in 1985, from Ilorin to Kaduna, and I paid 56 naira for a flight.
I paid 11 naira, 1980.
And you tell people it will seem that you are exaggerating.
Nigeria Airways, as a child.
Yes, Nigeria Airways.
As a child.
The DC-10, at that time, the aircraft, I still remember.
11 naira.
And I was clutching my Marlboro bag. That Marlboro bag was given to me by a sister who worked briefly at the Marlboro office in Ilorin. Go to Ilorin and see whether you can find Marlboro.
No, it's gone.
They are gone. All of the big companies that we had in Lagos, the big textile firms, churches have taken over their premises. We are now preaching prosperity, in those, we've turned those warehouses to church auditoriums where we preach prosperity. And when we like, we deceive the people. And we call that Christianity. Where we sometimes preach about how we can segregate our people. We call it Christianity. These debts were not accumulated between the time Bola Tinubu became president.
Okay.
Those debts had been there for years. Look at the military, the police. You can't walk into them and say you want to disconnect them. They will beat the hell out of you. That's the kind of country that we are. So why won't debts pile up? Defense barracks, military formations, and owing about 12 billion. They don't pay. They would rather intimidate people. Because the military see themselves as of a higher grade than ordinary civilians. People who cannot beat you up in a hand-to-hand combat because they are wearing uniform, they imagine that they are one Greek god. They didn't pay. It is testament to bad leadership over a long period that ministries, departments, and parastatals will not pay their electricity bills. because they feel that, they won't have the guts to come and disconnect us. Why shouldn't they disconnect you? Now this president has done the right thing. The same way that the money they were owing the Super Eagles, he made sure that he paid. Because leadership is...
leading by example.
Yes.
Right.
Once he got information, he said, go and pay. Go and pay. He's not going to leave Aso Rock for the next occupants to retain, to inherit this indebtedness. It makes no sense. So because it is Aso Rock, they should not pay their bills, and you accuse the electricity companies of not delivering. You are owing them tons of money. These are the issues. They need, if you know what the discourse are being owed, some of the Nigerians who sit on social media to abuse leaders, they too, they should enjoy the heat. Some of them are energy thieves. Some of them are energy thieves who bypass the meter to steal energy. This is our country. Things must change. There are so many things that are wrong with our country. We have to not just ensure that this kind of bill gets paid, we must ensure that it doesn't happen again.
Right. That
ministries, department agencies, they pay their electricity bill, their water bills and all that, and when due.
Right. Mecca, what do you think, from the perspective that BK has pointed, how do you think the government can prevent this from happening again?
Well, I think what needs to happen is that we have to now face reality. You know, the times when we had so much money, the Gowon era when we had plenty money and we didn't know what to do with it, it's gone. It's gone. That era is gone. So we need to begin to look for alternatives, you know, to how we spend money. And the presidential villa, of course, will be expected to be on an MD line, you know, dedicated line where you can't take power. You know, there are lines like that, factories and certain places, you know. So, I mean, I'm surprised it's just 342 million. You know, I'm surprised with all the offices, the AC,
so
and all that.
Higher.
It will be higher. But, well, what it shows is that maybe somehow, along the line, somehow, maybe there has been some settlement. Because that's a place where power is on 24/7. All the phases complete. Nothing, you know. But what I would just like, my takeaway from this is that I was in a bank branch some days ago, and I learned that, you know, it got to a point when the headquarters of the branch was asking the branch manager, your bills for electricity, the amount, you know, now what do we do? This, because the cost of diesel, the cost of, you know, what do we do? So I think he sat down with some people and they advised him to go for solar, renewable energy.
Right.
So that bank branch now got 48 batteries and then solar panels. So now weekends, the ATMs run on solar. You know, now they use these solar-powered ACs. So when you enter into the bank, into that branch, the ACs are not like, you know, the traditional ACs that you feel it. You can feel it, you know, it's cool, it's chilling, but it's not heavy. Now, that it's a one-time investment. But since then, the bill for electricity has gone down. In fact, I learned that there are times, even when there is power supply, but the bank branch depends on solar because it has sorted out the power thing so that the bills will come down. So I think government needs to begin to look at such things. You know, charity should begin at home. If you are encouraging Nigerians to start thinking of renewable energy, then you should begin it. You should start that with ministries, with MDAs, so that these bills, 12 billion is a lot of money. They can you can actually use certain. There's a World Bank initiative with the federal government on, you know, renewable energy, you know, mini grids and all these things. So government can begin to look at things like that, so that, you know, if this MDA, like the federal secretariat, for instance, if they have an embedded, you know, system of batteries, so that these things are charged, and then when people are not in the offices, you switch, you know, at certain periods, weekends and all that, you switch to renewable energy. So you reduce the cost of whether military barracks and all that. So that way, we will curb waste. One of our problems in this country is waste. You just see, you know, light on everywhere. Some offices, ACs. Yeah, so we must now have a policy on curbing waste. Waste. We must have a policy on curbing waste so that all these bills will reduce.
Right. All right. Let's quickly move on to our next issue of discussion, where more crisis is brewing in the camp of the Labour Party, and this time the party is contending with primary election crisis. A governorship aspirant on the platform of the people of the party in Edo State, Olumide Akpata, said the Labour Party is not ready for its primary election. In a letter to the chairman of the Independent National Electoral Commission, Akpata said the party's primary election process lacks transparency. He also alleged that there is a plot by the party leadership to hand-pick a candidate for the governorship election in the state. Well, operatives of the Edo State Police Command have arrested the embattled national chairman of the Labour Party, Julius Abure. Meanwhile, the party's national chairman, Abure, was arrested on Wednesday in Benin City, the Edo State capital, on allegations of premeditated attempted murder, amongst other alleged infractions. The Labour Party chairman's arrest followed a petition by the LP youth leader, Comrade Eragwe Anslem Amphilia. Ikeo, what do you make of this, will I say, unfolding development in Labour Party in terms of its internal wranglings? We've seen one recently on funds, transparency, now the electoral crisis. What do you make of what's happening in this, will I say, upcoming party?
Well, it just shows you that there is really no difference between the Labour Party and other parties. They are very similar in terms of their greed for power and even avarice. The same Abure and some of his colleagues in the ESCO, there is a criminal charge still hanging on their necks. They've not been able to shake it off. And it was for that reason that his opponents within the party moved in and claimed that they had suspended him because they forged documents, replaced people who had won the primaries with other people. They forged documents, including seals, party seals and all that, just to make sure that the people that they want eventually sail through. And they claim that, some of these people emerged by consensus. One of the candidates of the party in Ebonyi lodged a report with the police. Matter went to court. The court in Abuja ordered the police to investigate that infraction. And the police investigation found them guilty of forgery and sundry crimes. This illegal substitution of candidates' names and all that, which the candidate in Ebonyi had complained about. That case is still, Abure knows it. I talk about it all the time when the grandstand, that case is on. You know that you are accused of a criminal forgery of documents and all that. The other day when when the National Assembly, when many of their members were asking for SUVs and all that, Labour Party boasted that its members will have nothing to do with it. The interviews conducted showed Labour Party members say, no, we will take the jeeps. We will take the jeeps. The jeeps are meant for us to work. Abure was boasting that their members would not touch the jeeps. He wanted to give the impression that Labour Party is different from others. But what he fails to realize is that these are people who used to belong to those tainted political parties, who just saw the Labour Party as a vehicle to achieve their aims of taking power. They are not, it's not as if they are a different strain of politicians. No, stop kidding yourself. These are guys who had been in PDP, who had been in APC, They just saw themselves, especially in the Southeast, that look, if I do not join Labour, I don't stand a chance of winning an election. Do you think, for example, that the former ABGA national chairman, if he had not moved to Labour, do you think he would be in the Senate today? They had to use Victor Ome. They had to use the popularity of Peter Obi to catapult themselves to political preeminence. That is what has happened. But they have not changed. They are still the same politicians that we are familiar with. Labour Party, you will expect Labour Party in terms of its compactness, in terms of it being a strong party, to be far more organized than all of what we are seeing.
Right.
You won't expect to hear stories about Labour Party. Yes, things about
funds,
lack of transparency, trying to rig party primaries. It is the APC and PDP who are notorious for that. They want to rig primaries. Look at what happened in Edo now. 3 candidates, imagine.
Someone called them triplets.
No, I won't call them triplets because they don't look alike. And they are not of the same age. Triplets usually come from the same loins, from the same womb, and most times they look alike. But these ones don't look alike. Some maybe not enough hair on their heads and all that. Now, you've seen what happened in Edo now. You saw what happened in Anambra, where the Supreme Court ruled that the primaries of the APC that Andy Oba won was a non-event. It was no primary election. So it's shameful that the Labour Party is towing the same line. They are not different. I know they don't like it when we talk to people like Aisha now. They will say, what is this person saying? It is the truth. You can deny forever, but it is the truth. You discover now that those politicians are not worth the trouble. Akpata, now look at Akpata, that was touted as most likely to be the candidate of the Labour Party from Edo State. And it was lyrical about what Labour Party stood for. Look, when people join political parties, they join for different reasons.
It's about interest.
Two persons won't come together and say, let our interests align. Let's join for the same reason. No. And they are likely to even contest against one another if care is not taken. So, Labour Party, I'm not surprised. We will even still see worse things. Yes. I saw pictures. One, the girl who was accused the party chairman is publishing some pictures that these were houses that Buhari never had before until, look, there's no wrong in people being ambitious. Do you want him to remain on the same spot?
No.
Of course he's not going to remain on the same spot. To move. So if he didn't have houses yesterday, does it mean he should not have tomorrow? So as Labour Party, no. I would say I'm disappointed.
Yeah.
To a very large extent. Because Nigeria deserves a party that can actually set the right standards for others. And the likes of Aisha Sufu try to paint
the party as such.
Yes, as if it's a political party that is smelling like roses all the time. But we've seen now that they've not even, how many years have they been there?
They've
been up to a year.
It's not 20 or 30.
No, they've been there before now.
The Labour Party, hold on, the Labour Party of Memiko.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's not the Labour Party of Peter Obi. Peter Obi came and it looked like their sins have been washed away in the blood of Peter Obi. We started seeing Labour Party not like that party that people like Mimiko used to gain power. We started seeing Labour Party as a new party. Oh, the party that will set things right in our country. The party that appeal to the young people, angry people. But when those young people see these things happening, of course they will be disappointed. Even the most deluded of them all will be disappointed. Why are these things happening? Now, the same Aburi has been arrested, accused of trying to kill someone.
The former youth leader.
But Emeka, Well, how do you think the party can handle these allegations and perhaps win public trust? Perhaps because if people lose faith in the party that they once thought would be the hope of their dreams, what then again is the hope?
Well, it's unfortunate that all of this is happening, but it's not unexpected. Given the way we practice politics in Nigeria, it's a do or die affair. So I think the party still has the opportunity to redeem itself.
How?
And of course, these allegations have been thrown at it. So definitely the leadership shouldn't just wave it aside. Like the allegations of corruption against Abure. The state chairman have said, the state chairman have said that he is, that they have confidence in him, which is a strong one, but they should move further than that. The NEC and the NWC should move further to actually deal with any, pending issues, that impugn on the party's integrity. That is one. Then secondly, I think this issue of leadership needs to be sorted out quickly, because it's not just politicking. It's not just about winning elections or participating in elections, but it's also about voter education. It's also about holding the government in power, accountable. It's also about the number of things, advocating for the rights of people, for the rights of women, children, people living with disabilities, and all of that. So, if we reduce politics to just contesting elections and winning or losing, then we have lost the essence of good governance. So I think the Labour Party should be worried. The top brass of the Labour Party should be worried about all of these things. Of course, Peter Obi showed a good example some days ago by publishing his campaign expenses so that nobody will drag him into any mess. Yes. Yeah. And he said, everybody, if you receive money at any level, at any point, please publish it, which is what we want. Transparency, accountability. Labour Party should be noted for it. So I hope they can quickly deal with all these things. About the manner in which the police arrested Abure, I just wonder why. If you're arresting somebody who came for a meeting with the DSS and you have to manhandle him, I think some of these things are just excessive. They make it look as if somebody is afraid, of something. You comport yourself decently, because the forthcoming election, the primary, it's already, Edo State is already heated up. PDP is having its own, APC is having its own, Labour Party is having its own. So all of these things now, I think the security agencies should take it easy, so that the wrong impressions are not read into their actions. Yes, somebody has claimed that there was an attempt to murder him. Investigate, but don't make your actions look like you are taking sides.
No, but they were trying to also resist his arrest.
Yeah, but
they have no business trying to get in the way of the police doing his work.
Of course, I agree with that.
Trying to stop them from arresting him for what?
So that is what will give birth to.
Yes, to do that, you expect that they will use force. It's not above the law. If they come to arrest him, don't stand in the way. Let them pick it on. You accompany them to the place. In no time, he will be out of
that. Of course.
So what is the issue?
Drama?
He has not committed murder now. So why are you afraid
to answer?
No, well, a political party
no big deal.
Can be emotional.
Freedom,
it can be overtly emotional.
Yeah. All right, let's quickly go on a very quick break. We still have more to discuss on Journalist Hangout when we return. Please stay with us.
Stay ahead with the biggest news stories. Go beyond the news headlines. Experience impactful investigations. Enjoy resourceful news coverage in real time. TVC News at 7 and TVC News at 10 p.m. Live every day on this channel. TVC News. First with breaking news.
Welcome to Politics Tonight, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us this evening as we dig and go beyond the headlines for informed analysis of major political stories in Nigeria
I am Olajumoke Olatunji. President Bola Tinubu receives General Gowon at the Villa. On the interview segment for tonight, we focus on food pricing and national stability. Dr. Moda Yusuf is our guest. Is the CEO Center for the Promotion of Private Enterprise. Is also the former Director General, Lagos Chamber of Commerce and Industry. Also joining us to discuss this is a journalist, writer, and policy analyst, Mr. Niyi Akiziju. Welcome to Politics Tonight, everyone. Please stay with us. We'll be right back. Welcome back, everyone. Thanks for staying with us. Now, let's begin with some developments in the polity. Former head of state, General Gowon, says it's too early to get results from the policies, plans and program of the Tinubu administration. He's urging Nigerians to be patient and be more patriotic. He made reference to his time at the helm of affairs when the country was fighting the civil war. Gowon said governments will always face criticisms but must deliver on results. He said this after meeting with President Bola Tinubu at the presidential villa in Abuja.
I said no leader that no Nigerian leader that can get there and will not have all the all the report, all that is being said about him. But certainly there is no doubt from all that at least one hears and one sees on the various media, etc. I think the government is trying their best to deal with the various problems of the country, but with Nigerians, don't you worry, you can get criticized. I think people out there, they know better than what you know there. But I think all that one can say is that we've got to Nigerians have to give the president time to get things really done, and it is too early to sort of say yes, that absolute result, perfect result would be achieved now. So that is my opinion.
To cushion the prevailing economic hardship on the people, the House of Representatives wants government at all levels to provide palliatives across the 774 local governments in the country. This comes on a day the legislators called for better service in the issuance of the National Identity Number, NIN. National Assembly correspondent Jakadisa reports.
As Nigerians continue to battle rising cost of products, lawmakers want the state and federal governments to consider giving out palliatives to the people.
The resultant inflation of a fallout of the subsidy removal, the people of Ilela, particularly in Ilela, have been worst hit.
All the allocations to the state governors have been doubled, even tripled, yet they are not doing much.
The legislators called on the Council of Legal Education to suspend the latest 60% increase in tuition of the Nigerian Law School.
The Council of Legal Education has approved a 60% increase in Nigerian law school fees from 296,000 naira to 476,000 naira.
The House underscores the need for relevant government agencies to transform their risk-bearing capacity into an intervention that will put smiles on the faces of victims of disasters. It therefore seeks a new national disaster insurance scheme to guarantee public confidence.
Institutions responsible for risk management during disaster are not fulfilling their expected responsibilities. Both steps must be taken to secure citizens' future and address disasters affecting everyone.
Lawmakers also want a seamless national identity number registration exercise.
Nigeria faced arduous experience during registration despite various enrollment options and service centers, with most Nigerians yet to collect their NIN cards despite successful registration.
Outside the chambers, Akwa Ibom State member Clement Jimbo speaks on efforts by the government to ease the burden of hardship on the masses.
Some days back, the presidency gave a direction that about 42,000 metric tons of grains should be released from the reserves and shared to Nigerians. And of course, they should not also focus on the federal government. We only have 36 governors.
The absence of the chairman House Committee on Labour and Employment, Adegboyega Adefarati, and 2 other sponsors stalled a motion seeking to stop organized labour from going ahead with its nationwide mass protests over the state of the nation's economy. Joke Yadisa, TVC News, Abuja.
The Nigerian Senate has urged the federal government to suspend any plan to increase electricity tariff. This is as the upper legislative chamber directed its Committee on Power to investigate the over 2 trillion naira subsidy requirement as well as funds to offset pending payments to generating and gas companies, as disclosed by the Minister of Power, Ahmed Sahijo. The Senate's resolution comes on the heels of a motion presented on the floor of the Senate by Senator Aminu Abbas. National Assembly correspondent Jesu Adeoye reports.
Lawmakers are getting impatient with the rising cost of living and harsh economic conditions Nigerians face on a daily basis. The recent statement by Nigeria's power minister to review the cost of electricity tariff over the 2 trillion naira subsidy requirements has raised fresh concerns among the lawmakers. The lawmakers say the government should be sensitive to the prevailing economic hardship rather than add to their sufferings.
The prospect of the new Electricity Act 2023 of ensuring accurate electricity charges will be negated if these costs are not investigated to ascertain the current statistical data on the omitted customers, poor provision of electricity services despite exorbitant tariff and regulatory role of the NERC, which leave much to be desired.
Most of the problems that we are having today, especially in the manufacturing sector of the economy, is as a result of low power. And many organizations and companies are relocating from Nigeria simply because they don't have energy to drive their organizations.
In view of what Nigerians are passing through economically today, we should not be talking of increasing electricity tariff. And I want to use this medium to call on the power holding companies across the nation to keep to their promises of giving Nigerians prepaid meters. They should stop this idea of estimated bills. They are doing this to Nigerians, and I see it as an intimidation.
They urge the federal government to halt any proposed hike in electricity tariff. The Nigerian Senate also directed its Committee on Power to investigate claims made by the minister.
They had the Minister of Power talking about subsidy and requiring 2 trillion. And then, of course, also making statements and allusions to the fact that it requires 1.3 trillion naira to pay generating gencos, and also $1.3 billion to pay gas companies. And the request of the mover of the motion is that the Committee on Power should immediately swing into action and investigate these allusions.
In a similar development, the deputy leader, Senator Oyelola Ashiru, also asked the Senate to intervene in the recent hike in cement. Jesu Adeoye, TVC News, Abuja.
Let's now take a short break, and when we return, it will be time for tonight's conversation. Please stay with us, everyone.